Vigilante Mode, activate.
Talking about movies. Spotlight. Wednesday, I had the opportunity to go to a Lincoln Center event in which John Favreau, director of the upcoming film The Jungle Book, also director of Iron Man, Elf, Swingers, whole list of other movies, Chef, which was awesome. Obviously promoting The Jungle Book, but he was also there to sort of just talk about his career and his style of filmmaking and some of the things that he's working on. I mean, he's truly one of my idols, as a filmmaker, and I think he's a pretty decent actor as well. Just having the opportunity to go and sit there, listen to him talk about The Jungle Book. He shared several clips with us. It was kind of surreal. Definitely the highlight of the experience was getting the opportunity to ask him some questions, so I actually have some of those for you right here. Here's a response to this question I asked about the Andy Serkis Jungle Book coming out.
The question is, I know that there's another version of the Jungle Book being developed by Andy Serkis, also involved with Star Wars, so have you spoken to him, or?
I talked to Andy Serkis before he was hired to do the other Jungle Book, and he and I go back, we know each other, it's a small town, and he said it, and we both smiled because it was before any of this started years ago. Fortunately, there's enough space between them. There's I think now 2 years between the films, so everything changes. That's a huge amount of time.
Is it also a motion capture project?
Yeah, I don't know where, he's doing his thing. I don't know. I'm sure he definitely understands the technology because he's been involved in some of the most ambitious technical achievements and worked with other great filmmakers. So, you don't know till you see. But I think that I've been involved with a lot of projects where, as an actor, where it's like a foot race where you're both, I was in Deep Impact and then Armageddon's the same, like within a few.
Right.
Like that's when I think that's short-sighted because neither wins.
There's a piece of one of the questions missing. The first question that I asked him, given that there's all these Star Wars spin-offs and his relationship with Disney, given The Jungle Book is a Disney property, has he had any conversations about maybe directing one of the spin-off movies? I suggested that, given that Ewan McGregor has been talking to Disney about maybe a potential Obi-Wan spin-off, and from what I hear, there's actually more than one script out there that has been pitched to Disney. It looks like it's in development. I asked him whether or not he had anything to do with that or any conversations, and I truly do believe he would be really awesome at directing a Star Wars movie spinoff, not just Obi-Wan. So here's the response to that question.
I'm hearing about maybe Ewan McGregor coming back to play Obi-Wan. I personally think that you'd just be perfect for one of those movies, one of the spin-offs. So
everybody could do their thing. As far as the Star Wars stuff goes, I'm a huge fan. I was very nervous about it happening at all because I grew up and it was such an important thing to me, and really opened the door to me to look into Joseph Campbell and learn about mythic storytelling and the hero of 1,000 faces, and Star Wars opened the door for me to Kurosawa. All of my sophistication came through that little portal, which just seemed like entertainment just for me as a young kid. And so the level of thoughtfulness that Lucas infused that series with was inspiring to a young John Favreau as and then I looked at his sources and learned more and more. And American Graffiti. I mean, you look at American Graffiti, we had in Swingers, we had a reference to a reference to a movie. My license plate on the car, on Trent's car, said THX 130, which was the license plate on the car in American Graffiti, which is a reference to the first
prison.
Lucas did. So we did a reference inside a reference because I thought so highly of that film, of American Graffiti, which really set, I think, I know I've stolen from in ways I don't even remember. So I think that franchise, the Star Wars franchise, is very important. I know JJ very well. I was very relieved to know it was in his hands, and that because if there's anybody who loves Star Wars and understands it even more than me, it's that guy. And I think he successfully brought it to a new generation. I can't wait to see what these other filmmakers are going to do. And I'm hearing only wonderful things from people on the inside who are getting little tastes of things. So between the Star Wars universe, the Marvel universe, I think this infusion of new, excited, enthusiastic filmmakers is going to help bring fresh inspiration to these old stories and these old archetypes and these heroes' journeys again. But what a great time to be in Hollywood for me. I get to visit the set of, I went from the set of, now I can talk about it because it's all out. I went from the set of Star Wars to the set of the Age of Ultron in London, from one set to the other. And I still feel like I did when I was buying copies of Star Wars magazine. It's great. Yeah.
Thank you so much for answering that question.
And good luck.
Shout out to Peter Vasquez. Thank you for picking up the slack on my poor tech. At the very end, I think he pressed stop. I had mentioned that I was like an actor and a filmmaker myself, and he wished me luck at the very end, as you saw. But then he also, I think I might have said, or he might have said, I don't even know who said it, but we had like a little banter going back and forth of like, maybe we'll work together. Who knows? Yeah, but oh, come on, I was geeking out like hardcore. You could see me like head nodding throughout the video. So, I mean, it was just awesome. I have a couple other little clips and little bites for you because I think it was really cool to hear him talk about technology that he used on the Jungle Book. Now, I've not seen the film yet. It comes out April 15th, so I hope you do check it out because I'm hearing really good things about it. Maybe people might not realize that this entire movie, with the exception of Neil Sethi, who was also at the event, who plays Mowgli, this entire film is CGI. Every drop of water, every tree branch you see, every animal, every fur, it's CGI. There's a bit of a discourse, let's say, about the usage of CGI in film, or let's say the overusage of CGI in film. Now, I am one of the people who believe that CGI should be used sparingly. I think that it should be used to enhance what's already there. Christopher Nolan does that really well. I even think The Force Awakens had incredible CGI, but also it just complemented the live action elements. This is extremely innovative technology. Basically, they're able to render a rough cut of the performance that is being done by the actor on set. Motion capture, for those who do not know, it's the process of wearing these like sort of motion sensors, and all of that data is inputted into a computer and then into sort of like a wireframe that then gets animated by the visual artists and special effects artists. My point is that now this technology has advanced so much that you're able to actually see not just a wireframe, but like more or less like what that character, like what Bagheera or what Shere Khan is gonna really like look like in the final product.
You try to do things that nobody's done before. That happens a lot. With motion capture, you're pushing a lot of data around. You're working with code that's pushing the hardware to its limits. You're trying new things. And the thing that makes photography look real digitally is simulations. Whether you're ray tracing, where you're simulating the way that light bounces off of things, or simulating the way fur moves or water. And the thing that makes it look good is how complicated those simulations are. And so we're always, no matter how powerful the computers get, we're always pushing the software to take full advantage of it, because to the artist's eyes, there's always room to make something look more and more photoreal. And so each generation we get used to the new technology, and you have to come up with new technology to fool the audiences. And when they showed Lost World done in stop motion, long before King Kong even, people thought that those were real dinosaurs. And we look at it now, it looks like something from a children's show, because the audience is getting more and more sophisticated. So if you ever look at effects from a few years ago, sometimes they're charming, because they're so like Harryhausen. Even though it doesn't look real, it's still wonderful. And my issue, honestly, with CGI is, if you don't do it right, it loses its charm too quick and dates the movie. Getting the best artists and the best people, and surrounding myself with people that were smarter than me, and just, I've always had a very good eye for talent, both in front of and behind the camera. And like a guy, Rob Legato, who I would hang out with him just to pick his brain before we were ever working together, because he had done, he had set up Avatar, he had done Titanic, he worked with Scorsese on all of his recent projects like Hugo, which I thought was beautiful also. And it's just a really brilliant, smart guy with a cinematic eye. You know, and then Bill Pope, who done, you know, Scott Pilgrim, Matrix, and, you know, was very comfortable, was working on the new Cosmos series with a lot of green screen. So people who were comfortable and not scared of technology. And I've been a bit of a Luddite. I've always been very gradual. Even on Elf, we did stop motion, we did forced perspective. Even on Zathura, we did motion control miniatures like they did on the original Star Wars. So I've always really loved the technologies that we used when I was growing up. And then with Iron Man, we got into hard surfaces like metal, and I started to become convinced because I would give notes, because we have a real suit for certain shots and we have a digital suit for certain shots. And at one point, and I'm pretty meticulous, you know, I'm not mean about it, but I am, you know, I really try to inspire the best work out of people. I think we should, you know, it's hard to, you don't want to give up on a shot. You want to just keep pushing it to be the best you can. And I was given some notes on one of the shots, and they politely interrupted me. The people from ILM told me that's actually not one of the digital shots. That's the real suit. And at that point, I knew that I was fooled, where I couldn't even tell the difference between the two. And then I was, you know, it made me very proud of them, honestly. And I laugh and I love it. I tell the story whenever I can, because it shows that there is a tipping point for certain technologies. And then as I saw films like Avatar, Life of Pi, and most recently Planet of the Apes, I began to be convinced about organic surfaces too, and fur. And that's when we started thinking about, can we do something interesting with this property 50 years after the animated version.
Thank you for listening to me talk about this really cool experience that I did not foresee happening. I'm going to have more of these kinds of videos where I just sort of talk to you about something that I got to experience, which was really cool, that I want to share with you. Keep an eye out for some more cool videos. If you liked this video, please hit like, please share, and subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Links in the description for cool extra little bits. And I will see you guys next time.
Vigilante Mode, deactivate.
Talking about movies.